learned from the tiredness of my parents. So I'm proud of you, Aaron. My name is Michael with Absolute Real Estate and Property Management. And I started Absolute Real Estate in 2008 and Absolute Property Management in 2013. So I've been selling real estate for a long time now. And I always think about, when I'm thinking about long-term savings plans and residual income, that was the main reason why I got into real estate, is to pad my residual income. In the meantime, I got a little bit sidetracked with the idea or the concept of selling a $1 million house, right? It's like a commission that could really set you up. And it's easy to lose sight. It's easy to chase they call it elephant hunting. It's easy to chase the elephant and forget about the $50 a month or $60 a month here and there. And one thing that's really helped me is really focusing in on that $50 to $100 a month cash flow, because with that residual income, it gives me a lot of freedoms that I wouldn't otherwise have. So in high school, I had this great math teacher. Her name was Miss Bittner. I always had this ability of charming my teachers, right? And so I would always do the least amount of work possible, right? And they generally, I was a nice enough kid, I followed the rules. They would allow me a little bit more slack than they would other kids. And so I used that to my advantage, and I would always ask Miss Bittner questions during the test. And she would always give me the answer. And I'm like, this is great. You're like the best math teacher I ever had, until I couldn't pass Algebra 2 in college. That became a problem. But so Miss Bittner gave us as an assignment, we had a group project, and we had to build a bridge out of toothpicks. And whichever bridge held the most weight won the competition, right? And so you had like a cardboard platform, and there was rules to the game. And the rules were set up to where you had a certain amount of money, you could buy a certain amount of toothpicks, you could buy a certain platform, you could buy a certain kind of rope to hold the bridge, you could buy a certain kind of bucket, right? So it's going to distribute the weight differently. But one thing Miss Bittner did not think about is she didn't think about the glue. The glue was free. Okay, and so me and my friend built this great bridge. It was like a suspension bridge, all the right angles. And then what we did is we gamed the system. And we put about 3 bottles of Elmer's glue on this thing. And it was rock solid. And we won. We won the competition. We held 67.5 pounds on our toothpick bridge, and we won for our class. And that cued me into something that I've always been really good at. I'm always really good at navigating the rules and finding the inconsistencies, or finding the things that either don't make sense to me, or the things that make so much sense, I'm wondering, why isn't everyone doing this? Okay, and so that's my background. When I was really young, my parents would spank us, right? And my sister, gosh, she wouldn't shut her mouth. She would just, one more spank. Okay, we love you, don't do this again, just say that you love me. No, another spank. And I'm in there, the first time I'm like happy, I'm like, yeah, she's getting what she deserves. After like the 4th time, like, please stop saying no, like just comply, just do what they say, right? Because I could see from the outside looking in what the rules of the game were, and compliance meant freedom, okay? And so same thing with the glue. I found this little secret that she didn't charge us any money for the glue, and we used that to our advantage. So I've done the same thing in my finances with my business and with my personal portfolio of real estate that I own and manage. Who here is expecting a giant windfall at some point in time? Like, yeah, like maybe you're going to win the lottery, right? You buy enough tickets, the odds are definitely not in your favor, but you're just going to be the one that wins.
I'm going to win at Dip, Dive, and Donate.
I'm going to win at Dip, Dive, and Donate. Everyone's going to win at Dip, Dive, and Donate, don't worry. It's probably not going to happen, right? Unless you have an affluent set of parents, you're probably not going to get anything from anyone, which means you have to start working and saving and planning and doing all the things that nobody ever wants to do. But I have a little secret, a couple tips that I think can help you guys out and give you a little bit of, you could be a little bit empowered, because sometimes, Keith deals with financial planning a lot, and it can be overwhelming for people. Does anyone know how much money you have to save per month to have $1 million in your account over 30 years? It's about $500. Okay, at 6% interest, if you save for 30 years, $500 a month, you'll have a net worth of approximately $1 million. In order to do that same equation of $1 million, if you want to shrink that timeline in 20 years, it's $2,200 a month. Who has $2,200 a month in disposable income that they can stock away at 6% and save for the future and save for retirement? Almost no one. Probably no one in this room. I'm not trying to make any judgments, but that's a lot of money to come up with every month for something that you may need in the future. So for the purposes of this discussion, I'm going to start with $500, because that's maybe a little bit more manageable for everybody to think of and comprehend. $500 a month is still a big commitment. Okay, and so maybe you have an employee match, and you're able to save $100 a month, and they match you that $100 a month. So that's $200. That's already a really great start. You're already almost halfway there. Let's say in addition to that, you have a $150,000 home, and on that home loan, you pay off about $200 a month in principal. Okay, between your 401k or your IRA, whatever you save, whatever your saving tool is, and your primary residence, that's $400 a month that you're saving already automatically. A lot of people don't think about that. They just think, okay, I got to put $500 a month into my retirement account, but maybe they don't have that $500 a month. So let's take it one step further and say that you have a credit card that costs $100 a month that you're paying towards that credit card in principal. You're already at the $500 a month with one caveat. You cannot re-borrow the money on your credit card. You cannot re-borrow the money on your house, okay? And you cannot take from your 401k or your IRA. That's it. You're already there. One credit card payment, one house payment, and your 401k or your IRA. You're already at $500 a month. So boom, you've done that. You're 30 years old. By the time you're 60, you're going to have $1 million in the bank. And you might say, well, $1 million used to be a lot of money in the 80s. When Dance, 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 It's a Teen thing was around, $1 million was the bee's knees. Everybody, that was enough, right? But maybe that's not enough. So amplify your equation a little bit, because you've already gamed the system once. You've gamed the system to get to $500 a month. You're not going to borrow money against that credit card anymore once it's paid off, okay? So that $100 is continually going into that account, even when the $2,000 balance is paid off. So you've eliminated the debt, and now instead of $200 in your IRA, you have $300 going into your IRA, and you're still paying off your home loan. And you're not refinancing it, you're not borrowing against it. That's saving for the long term. So you've gamed the system already with $500. Now let's see, how do you game the system with $2,200? It's the same exact rules, the same exact principles. Maybe you add your $500 car payment into the mix, right? And now you're getting $500 a month in principal pay down on your car, except you're making a commitment that when that car's paid off, you're not going to buy another car for an undetermined amount of time. You're going to drive that car for another 12 months or 22 months or 24 months or whatever the maintenance will allow. Okay, so you're up to $1,000 right there. Maybe you buy a rental property from me on a 15-year mortgage. A 15-year mortgage, if you buy it right, you're not going to cash flow on that rental property, but you're going to get $300, $400, $500 a month, depending on the size of the loan, in principal pay down. That's all going towards your snowball. It's basically like a debt snowball. And let's say you do that 2 times. So you have 2 15-year mortgages, you have your normal mortgage, you have your normal IRA, and then an additional $500 a month towards your IRA, you're going to be at that $2,200 a month. Automated. My mortgages get paid. I got an email from Quicken. I have 5 mortgages with Quicken. They all got paid on the 1st when I was on vacation. So I know that I just saved $1,000 on the 1st of the month, and I didn't do anything. I didn't work. I didn't actually write a check. I didn't physically do anything. But I know $1,000 a month went to the principal amounts of my real estate holdings in one day. And this happens every time on the 1st of the month. Okay, these are the types of tools. You have to game the system. We don't live in a world anymore, generally speaking, where you can count on a pension or a retirement account or anything like that. So you have to use your mind, and you have to use these tricks and things that are already built into our financial system to try to take advantage of them. And you can ramp this up huge. I know people that are my age that have 50, 60, 70 rental units. They have 3, 4, 5 different businesses all earning over $1 million because they've just figured out these tips and tricks. They figured out how to bring in the right people at the right time. They figured out how to leverage themselves and their money. So what I want you guys to understand, I did this presentation at a Rotary chapter recently. And do you know how many people it applied to in that room? They're all old rich people. They're like, yeah, we learned that 50 years ago. It bombed hard. But this is a different room. You guys all need this information. You need to take action now and make some kind of a plan. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be fancy. It could just be, you know what? I'm going to pay 1 extra mortgage payment a year on my house. So I'm going to turn my 30-year mortgage into a 22.5-year mortgage. Just by making 1 extra mortgage payment a year. The math is simple. If you pay $1,000 a month in principal and interest, you just divide 1,000 by 12. What is that, $83? So $83 extra a month. is all you have to do. It's not like you got to scratch a $1,000 check in December when you're buying Christmas presents. It's $83 a month. Set it, forget it, because that time is going to go so fast. And you're going to be thinking 10 years from now, you're like, man, I really wish I started 10 years ago. So now's your opportunity, and please game the system. Play around with your credit cards. If you get points, if you get different perks and benefits, learn the rules of the game. Learn how to manage your credit. Every credit card almost has a free credit tracker that actually physically tells you if you do X, Y will happen. If you borrow this money, your credit score will drop 100 points. And then for a year, you won't be able to qualify for premium rates for up to a year. Use these rules. They're all very standardized. They're not complicated. They're not hard to memorize. It's just you have to stop and pay attention to them, and then you have to take action. So if all you guys do today is just look at your mortgage statement this week, I think you've started on the path of success, and start figuring out what is the glue in your financial life. What's the secret sauce that's going to help you get from where you are now to maybe your savings or retirement goals down the road. Map that out, and I personally, I nerd on it so hard. I think it's fun. I look at my budget multiple times a week, my personal budget and my business budget, because that stuff's going somewhere. That money's going to leave your hands at some point in time. And I like to be in control of where it goes and how it goes, and I like to know that I have some security built in to my future. So if you guys have any questions on how to game the system in your life, I'd be happy to meet with you one-on-one, look at what your assets look like, what your liabilities look like, and how to maximize and plan for the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and so on. Michael with Absolute Real Estate. Hopefully this helped encourage you to save some money for a rainy day.